Record, and we are live. Hey everyone, how's it going? Thank you so much for joining. Yeah, go ahead. Why don't you guys take it away?
Hey everybody, my name's Belladonna Rizzo. I've been a real estate broker for 20 years, and we are really excited to be chatting with you guys today about how can you close more for sale by owners and expired listings. My partner in crime right here.
I'm Tamara Simons, and I have also been in real estate now 20 years. And I'm not a broker, but I've been coaching agents and building my own business for what seems like forever.
Yeah.
And I worked with Belladonna on and off throughout the years. And we're not just friends, but we're actually business partners.
So we are really excited to be working with you guys today for the next hour. Now, I'm going to ask you to forgive me, guys. I am so sick. So, I don't know if I got the flu or COVID or what, guys, but it's kicking my tail. So we're gonna power through. Now, Martin just put through a really quick poll question for us, right? It really helps us if we know where you guys are at in your real estate business as far as FSBOs and expireds go. So if you can let us know and just answer that poll question, and guys, this is a fairly small group too. So I'm going to say this, feel free to unmute if you have questions, right? Just let us know, but let us know where you're at. Like, have you closed absolutely no for sale by owners and expireds at this point? Have you closed, 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, or 15 plus? And so based on where you guys are at, it lets us kind of tailor what we'll teach today so that it's going to meet you where you're at, right? Because if you're closing 15 plus, we'll give you some advanced strategies for just tightening up your game. But if you're brand new at for sale by owners and expireds and you've never done them before, then we're going to focus on more beginner kind of entry-level strategies. That sound good? Okay. And so, also, we forgot to do this last time, Tamara. Guys, do us a favor in the chat. Let us know where you're from. So where are you guys logging in from? And I'm going to open the chat here on the side. And then Martin, if you can just let me know what those poll answers are when they come through. And guys, you can also throw your answers in the chat, right? If you're like, I've closed no FSBOs. Hey, Fort Worth, right on. Clinton, Fenton. Nice.
Nice. Got a nice broad area there.
Awesome.
Okay.
So we've got a lot of people voting here. I think it's 8 out of 11. I think the 3 that haven't voted are us 3. So I think that's everyone now. So
Okay.
You've got 6 people who have said that they've dealt with no FSBOs and expireds, and 2 people have said they're between 5 and 10.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So if we've got people that have done between 5 and 10, kudos, guys. So you're definitely getting your chops at that point, right? So let me ask you this. Where is it that you guys find that you struggle the most with FSBOs expireds, right? Is it scripting? Is it actually knowing what to say to set the appointment? Or is it what, you're getting on the calls, but you're not able to handle those objections so that you can actually get in the door? Or is it on the listing presentation side, right? Because some of us are used to working mainly people that we know and referrals, and we're not used to the highly competitive environment of FSBOs expireds. It's a whole different game, right? So let us know, what is it that, or where is it that you'd like to get the most help on today's call? And guys, while you're doing that, you could just throw it in the chat, right? So here, I see it breaks down in a couple of places. Mindset would be one. Skill set breaks down in a couple of areas. Scripting, basic scripting, like what are you saying on your calls? Handling objections, closing, and then the listing presentation itself, right? And then the listing presentation has its own set of similar skills that you need to work in there. And I'm a huge believer at listing for a full commission, guys. And just so you know, I specialized in FSBOs for my entire career. I never, ever cut my commission. And so I know that you can go into these appointments and walk out with a great listing and a full commission. Okay. Hey, and we got Sarah in New Jersey, St. Louis. Right on, guys. Okay. So let us know, what area are you struggling with the most?
And don't be shy. Don't be shy. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. And if for those of you who don't know me as well, you'll see me just sort of floating around in here. I'm one of the owners at Real Connect, so I'm sort of just hosting the call with the lovely ladies here today. But I've also got a ton of experience in real estate too. And yeah, we want to hear from you guys. We want to make sure these trainings are tailored to what you guys want to talk about. Sure, we have a structure and some things we want to get into. And Belladonna, I feel so bad. I can hear your voice, and I feel your pain struggling through that right now. So, feel free if you want either myself or Tamara to jump in. We're very happy to. I'm happy to as well.
No, yeah, no worries. I'm just gonna try to not cough. So because when I start, it's so ugly. Oh my gosh.
Awesome.
So
no one in the chat so far with what you guys are struggling with, but feel free to put it in there, guys. But maybe we kind of had that plan of I guess you just take it away with whatever you want to talk about, I suppose, and see if anyone jumps into the chat.
okay, awesome. So
Well,
the first thing,
don't we start with a mindset, the mindset to even before we ever sit down to even make our calls or even to role play. Let's start there, Bella, where,
okay,
just getting in the right frame of mind so that by the time we get to our calls, we're actually able to convert because our voice comes across as happy to be there, even though we're not wanting to make that call.
Yes.
and
Yes,
then
you got a
I
few
see
people in the
some
chat
things
there.
coming through now.
Oh, nice.
Okay, awesome. So so Brandy, thank you. Not knowing what to say, I think that comes up all the time. So let's touch briefly on mindset. Who here struggles with mindset? I find two mindset issues around FSBOs and expireds. On FSBOs, it's actually believing, this actually came up on last week's training, that when we tell them, and so basically, I just basically ask them, if I can help you sell your home for more money in less time, is that something you'd be open-minded about having a discussion around? And we had some agents on the call say, yeah, but I don't believe I can do that, right? So is anybody struggling with mindset? I saw a couple of head nods on that one. Does that have a few people? Okay, so guys, here's the thing that I know after years and years and years of doing this, and I listed a FSBO my first day with a real estate license. Chase, okay, awesome. So, and I specialized in them for my entire career, right? When I tell them I can sell your home for more money in less time, what I mean is the ultimate price their home will sell for. I will net them a higher sales price than they will ever get on their own. And I will hold that price between issues negotiating through home inspection and appraisal, right? People aren't going to come back and beat us up. We're going to hold the line on that price as much as humanly possible. Now, do I mean that I'll make them more than the price they're currently asking? Maybe, maybe not, because I find FSBOs fall into two categories. They're either underpriced or overpriced, but they're rarely accurately priced. So if they are terrifically overpriced, no, I might not make them more than what they're currently asking, but I guarantee you, I will sell that home for more than they will sell that home for. Do you guys understand the difference between the two? Right? Because at the end of the day, they have this idea of what their home is going to sell for. But here's the thing is for sale by owners, they're marketing to almost nobody, right? They have zero exposure. And the people that they are appealing to are the, I don't mean this disrespectfully, but the lowest quality buyers in the entire marketplace are who go to for sale by owners. What do you get? You get investors who, come on, right? They're going to give you 65 cents on the dollar. Yes, Angela, they are marketing to renters, but they're the people that go to for sale by owners very typically can't get a loan. They're not pre-qualified yet. And they're coming in asking for special terms. They're asking for a lease option. They're asking for seller finance, things like that, right? So at the end of the day, if I can't list their home for at least sell their home for at least 10% more than they can sell it on their own, like I should go do something else for a living, right?
Yeah.
So I can say that to a for sale by owner with great confidence and great authority. And I know that I'm being honest when I'm saying that. That's not just a sales line. So, and then let's talk a little bit about the mindset around expired listings. Does anybody here feel like, hey, the house didn't sell the first time. Why do I want to saddle myself with that listing? Right? I don't know if anybody has struggled with that mindset, but again, I find that when we look at expired listings, there are usually, I call it a listing audit. I will go through and audit their last listing. I will typically find a multitude of problems with that listing, the least of which is typically price also. So by the time I'm done doing an audit on that expired listing, I'm going to know what went wrong and how we can get that listing sold, right? So with the expireds, the other thing that you have going for you is even if they were completely unreasonable on price, they've just had the heck beat out of them for the last 6 months, right? The market has proven that that price is not, the home is not going to go for that price. And in many ways, I feel like the first agent did all the heavy lifting, right? They got that very unreasonable person to start to realize, okay, we have to reduce the price. So it's typically very easy on the expired to get that expired listing at a price that will actually cause that home to sell, along with diagnosing and correcting any other things that were wrong with that listing, right? Was the MLS not filled out completely? One of the things that drives me insane in Utah, right, is we have a huge number of people that want RV parking. Okay. We're like the land of outdoor stuff. So people have RVs and boats and snowmobiles and you name it, right? Trailers. So RV parking is a big deal. I can't tell you the number of listings that didn't list something as simple as RV parking when they had RV parking. So simple mistakes like that in the listing were searchable items that would have caused that home to be viewed by people that were interested in it, were simply never listed on the MLS. Because they just were not, there was not enough attention to detail on the listing, right? And then we go through and we triage other pieces on the expired, like photography, right? Was that property did it show the way it should have shown online, right? So if that helps, does anybody have any questions around just the mindset of FSBOs and expireds? Like, hey, can I actually sell these things even if I get the listing? Or does that help?
Personally, I reckon that's real useful as well, because especially when I was selling, I mean, you guys put in the chat what your guys' thoughts are, of course, but when I was selling, if I had have had someone telling me that sort of stuff, right from the beginning when I was just getting started, it would have helped a lot, because you don't know what you don't know, and you just go in there thinking that you don't know everything, but actually it's not as hard as you think if you just have someone sort of giving you that type of advice. But yeah. That's my thought.
And I think it's really intimidating when agents, hear, I can sell your home for more money in less time. And they're going, how am I supposed to do that? that's the first thing that comes to an agent's mind. At least it did for me when I first started, because I was like, okay, how am I supposed to sell this for more money in less time when I don't even know what the heck I'm doing? So, in the very beginning, I didn't know. I mean, I was the agent that didn't know that it wasn't normal to take a 7% listing, but I didn't know that's what I was doing, but nobody said anything. So it's just a matter of dialing in the right framework here, and then everything else falls into place.
Yes. So and guys, here's the thing that if you don't believe it yet, trust me, you are helping these people in ways they don't even understand. So we didn't talk about our background because we just wanted to jump into the training, but I was managing broker of the biggest Century 21 in the world for years. And as a brokerage, we specialized in for sale by owners expireds. It was, as an entire company, we had all of our agents calling on those listings. The insane number of messes that I have seen for sale by owners get themselves into, right? And they inadvertently did something that caused them great harm. I've had several where they ended up having to pay the buyer an amount equal to their earnest money because they just didn't understand that they weren't allowed to cancel the contract on their end. Right now, I know that differs from state to state, but in Utah, the seller cancels the contract, they have to pay the amount of earnest money back to the buyer in the form of damages. Right. So yeah, I just saw Angela was like,
that look, yep.
Yeah. Okay, so not to mention, guys, things like seller's disclosures. I don't know what they are in your state, but when I got into this business, seller's disclosures were 5 pages. We're up to 15 pages now in Utah. Every single line on those seller's disclosures is directly related to a lawsuit. So we know that lawsuits in real estate are about 50% higher if one or more members of the transaction does not have a professional representing them. And why is that? Because they don't know the law. Most of these people aren't trying to intentionally break the law or do something that's not allowed in a real estate transaction. But ignorance of the law does not keep you safe in court, right? So if there's one thing that I can convey to you is these people need you to help them, okay? They might not know it, but it's important for you to know it. So now I did see a couple of people here saying, hey, I just don't know what to say, okay? So I can't stress this highly enough, but everybody needs some good, solid scripts. Do we have anybody in here that has a little bit of reservation about doing scripts because you're afraid it's going to make you sound canned or inauthentic or like everybody else? I find often that's the number one thing that I get from agents is they're like, man, I cannot use a script. I just want to have a natural conversation with these people. If I have any of those folks on this call, there's no shame in it, right? And what I can tell you, yes, I saw a hand come up. Okay, awesome. Thank you. From thousands and thousands and thousands of calls that I've audited for my agents. So here's what I used to do as a manager. Our agents we called it the pit. It was a huge stand-up area of, Tamara's laughing.
I remember.
Of stand-up cubicles with a phone and a headset. And I would walk around with my headset around my neck and I could come to my agents and I could plug into their headset so I could hear both sides of the conversation, right? And then I could kind of like tell them what to say. I promise you, every single time they got off script, they sounded worse than if they just stayed on the script. Right. And so I think we think we're going to sound better when we're just trying to go with the flow. But the truth is, usually we don't. Now, I find what it comes down to is having a script that you're okay with, right? Because there guys, there have been scripts out there that I'm like, there is no way I'm saying that. Okay, so it's got to be something you're okay with. But I've got a few of our scripts pulled up here, right? So I've got our FSBO script, objection handlers, questions for sellers. Would anybody like to actually take a look at the actual scripts that we use? Would that be helpful? And I'm keeping an eye on the chat over here. Okay, awesome.
Yes.
So guys, I'm going to share my screen. Okay, forgive me, all right, there we go. Can you guys see this script right here, the FSBO accelerator script?
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about some basics, guys. Oh my gosh, can I tell you? If you're just, here's some really good news for you guys. If you're just half decent with a script and a polite human being, you will already be better than 90% of the agents calling. Okay. So notice in red what I have here. Never make them wrong, right? Always downswing. And what I mean by downswing is, guys, when we're asking a question, you know how our voice kind of goes up at the end, or at the right? So like, hi, I was calling about the home for sale, and it goes up at the end. Okay, that indicates uncertainty. Downswing is when your voice goes down at the end. Hi, I was calling about the home for sale, right? So that's what that means. Sound concerned, not condescending. And so when we talk about not making them wrong, it's crazy to me how many agents get on a phone with a for sale by owner, and then they basically get into a fight with them over why they shouldn't be listing their home on their own. And they get into an argument with them about it. And I'm like, my piece is put yourself in the for sale by owner's shoes. Okay. Here you are, a homeowner, you're trying to sell your home. Why? You're probably just trying to make a little more money. Maybe you had a bad experience, whatever it is, it's your bloody house. You can do whatever you want with it. And now some perfect stranger, unsolicited, calls you on the phone and proceeds to tell you that you're stupid for trying to sell your house on your own. I'm like, how do you think that's going to get you an appointment? Right? So that's why here, never make them wrong. Sound concerned, not condescending. So this is a very basic script, guys, that we've had tremendous success with over the years. And you can see it's just pretty simple, right? We say, now, guys, we know their names, okay? We know their names. We know where their house is. We can see the details on their house. We've got a lot of this information. A lot of FSBO scripts start with, hi, I'm calling about a home for sale. Is this the owner? Okay, I'm going to say, skip that entirely. Okay. Call them by name. The thing, sorry, that throws people the most is I talk to them exactly like they're my friend and I already know them, right? So let's just say this FSBO we're calling, his name is John. Okay, and I'll say, he'll answer the phone and I'll say, hey, is this John? And he'll go, yeah, like, do I know you? Kind of, yeah, this is John. And I'll say, hey, John, this is Belladonna. I am a local real estate broker out here with, and I'll just say the name of my brokerage, right? And I noticed that you have your house for sale and it looks like you're selling that by owner, right? And he's going to tell me, yeah, okay, great. Awesome. Hey, John, the reason I'm reaching out is because I work with a lot of buyers and sellers in the area. And I'm just calling to see how things are working out for you. And I'm just going to start a natural conversation, right? Now, guys, it's no mystery, okay, that we're calling to see if we can list the home. So I'm going to call out the elephant on the table. And I'm just going to ask them, I'm going to say, hey, just out of curiosity, is saving the commission the main reason why you were trying to sell on your own instead of using an agent? Now, I'm not going to assume, I'm going to ask, because maybe 1 out of 10 times, what I find out is no, they had a horrific experience with an agent. And that's why they're selling on their own, in which case I'm going to talk to them about that, right? But most of the time, 90% of the time, they're like, yep, that's why. Okay, great. I can totally appreciate that, which I can appreciate it. And I'm going to lead in with this. I'm not sure if it's for you, but if I can show you a way where you could actually sell your home for more money in less time, especially in today's market, is that something you'd be open-minded to? Now, maybe they're not yet. I would expect them to tell me no right here, guys. Here's something interesting. The ones that say yes too easily are usually flakes. Guys, I need you to understand this one thing, and this is a mindset thing. The people that make you really dig a little and push a little, these are the best appointments you're going to get, right? Because everybody else is giving up on them and you're actually getting in the door. The people that just say yes right out of the gate, come on over. Half the time, they're lonely. I swear to you, there's something is going on with them and they're meeting with 10 agents. It's a mess. Okay. I just dealt with one of those this week, no less. And I just told him I'm not listing his house. Because Cliff,
Yes.
because he's just not reasonable on the price. And I'm not going to list it for a price that it won't sell for. Right. So that is another mindset issue that we'll circle back around to. So, and if they say, no, I don't really see how you can do that, or no, we're not ready to meet with an agent, or no, whatever, it doesn't matter what comes after the no, just no. You say, okay, great. Hey, I completely understand your hesitation. And, from your perspective, it probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense, right? That's why I'd actually love to meet with you for just 20 minutes so I can show you exactly how I can benefit you in the sale of your home. And here's the thing, John, if at the end of our 20-minute meeting, or at the end of our 20-minute meeting, you decide what's best for you, right? Maybe it's to continue selling on your own. And I totally respect that. What works better for you? Tuesday, afternoons or evenings to get together real quick. And then we're going to just continue through this flow, right? So now if I'm going to assume they're going to keep telling me no, does that make sense, guys? I'm expecting them to say no, 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 as we flow through this script. And then I'm going to ask, hey, I'm curious, if you could actually have the home sold in the next 30 days and get the price that you wanted, would that be a win for you? Right? Okay, great. And I don't know for sure yet because I haven't seen your home or done the research. But if there was actually a financial benefit to listing your home and it really made financial sense, could you see yourself being able to consider that? So you see, guys, there's nothing in here about making them wrong. It's just asking them, if it makes sense, could we get together for 20 minutes? Now, in between some of these questions here, guys, I've got questions to ask at the bottom of this page. Okay, once they've told me no, I'm going to ask 1 or 2 of these questions before I try to go for the appointment again. Does that make sense? Because if we close back to back to back, it just gets weird. And I actually need to understand what their situation is. So I am going to ask these questions throughout the script. I'm just going to kind of start at the top of these questions and add them in. Now, I'm going to ask this sincerely, right? And I'll say, John, just out of curiosity, this looks like a great house. What made you decide to sell? I want to know motivation. Okay. And then, so we're going to talk about that a little bit. And then we're going to ask, and so once your home sells, where are you going next? Awesome. What takes you there? Okay. So guys, there's a few things I want you to get in the habit of doing. So in red right here, okay, these are things that I say over and over throughout any conversation with a for sale by owner or an expired. So they give me an answer and I'll say, really? So what's important to you about that? What's important to you about making that move to San Francisco? What's important about getting into the new home, right? And then guys, get used to this one right here. This one is just pure gold. Really, tell me a little bit more about that. Really, tell me a little bit more. Because it doesn't sound intrusive, but you're going to start to be able to seriously find out what's going on with these people. Because until we understand their situation, it's hard for us to get good leverage on why they need to meet with us, right? And then this is help me understand is a great one that ties back to not making them wrong. Folks, help me understand. What's most important to you about selling on your own? Is it just making the most amount of money possible, or are there any other reasons? Or help me understand what's the driving force behind this move, whatever it is. And then this one is great, guys. If I could, would you? If I could make you more on the sale of your home and make sure that you were in the next place in San Francisco in the time that you need to be there, would you be open to getting together for 20 minutes? So if I could, would you? Great, great closing pattern. And guys, do you notice how natural this is for a close? It doesn't sound pushy. It doesn't sound weird, right?
Hey, Bella. So
yeah,
just going up there, I wanted to make a comment on this stuff before, and I think this stuff is really great, and I've heard this type of script before. And one thing I thought that would just help the guys is that you kind of, when you do that, if I could do this, then would you do this? It's like you've got to make sure you're asking those questions in the first place, like you were saying before, so you know those answers of what their true desires are, right? So that when you frame that question, you're framing all these questions in a way that they can't say no. Why would they say no to that? You know, you're framing it in a way that the obvious answer is yes. So you're kind of bringing them along a journey of what they've already told you that they want, and then associating that positive result with you, right? So which is what I really love about the way that the script is put together.
Oh, nice. And guys, there are certain things that I say all the time. I say them on practically every single for sale by owner call, right? One of them is I'll say, we're talking to John, right? I'll say, John, let's do this. Let's just take listing your home off the table, right? All we're talking about are possibilities, if it even makes sense for you. And so worst case that'll happen is I'll get the opportunity to come see your property. And even if listing doesn't make sense for you, I will be able to speak intelligently about your home to all of my buyers. And two, you get to expose your property to a top agent and a top brokerage in the marketplace. And I promise you this, no matter what the outcome is, I will leave you better prepared to sell your home, whether it's on your own or with an agent. Does that sound fair? Okay, guys, or the other thing I say is fair enough. So can I tell you, fair is the ultimate superpower when it comes to getting people to finally tell you yes. People want to think of themselves as being fair. And when you structure it in such a way that you're going to bring them all this great value, right? Going to bring them, do a current market analysis for them. And I'm going to let them know I'm going to be bringing them other valuable information as well. I'm going to bring you a staging guide that will absolutely help you get your home sold. And more importantly, in my guide are the things not to do, because you won't get a return on your investment, right? That always gets people curious. So I'll have some things that I'm going to bring out to them and then say 20 minutes and I will leave you better prepared to sell your home no matter what you decide. Fair enough. And then once you say fair enough, you cannot speak. You just have to stay silent no matter how long, because they're actually processing in their head and it might take them a couple of seconds and we need to stay silent. First one to talk loses. I don't know if you guys have heard that saying in closing, right? Once you ask the closing question, you have to be quiet. Okay. Most people will actually take a minute and think and they'll go, yeah, that's fair. Great. What's best for you afternoons or evenings? Okay. So I have another, this is just a basic list of questions for sellers, guys. This has saved my butt on calls more times than I can count. Okay, so I have this list up in front of me when I'm making calls, because what I have found is, again, we can't just keep closing for the appointment. We need to be asking questions in between the close, right? So I find 3 questions. I'll ask 3 questions and then I'll close. I'll ask 3 questions and then I'll close. But those 3 questions with the back and forth, they take a little bit of time. So it feels natural. Well, sometimes you run out of questions to ask, right? And your brain just freezes up and you're like, shoot, what do I say next? And we've all done it. You're like, no. Okay, bye. You know? There's no shame in it. We've all done it. Okay. So
more times than I can count, I've hit that mark where my brain just goes blank. Even though you know exactly what you need to say, it just blanks out on you.
Yeah, I will just look over at this and I will just grab a question that I haven't asked, right? And so have you made any significant upgrades to the property? How long have you owned the property? What's your favorite feature about the home? And guys, here's some questions I love to ask, especially when I just need to keep the conversation going a little bit. I'm keeping that rapport going. I'll ask them questions other agents aren't asking them. Like, how old's your HVAC? Has that been, replaced recently? How about your roof? Any issues with the foundation? And they're like, nobody else is asking me those questions, right? And so there are things that I can ask that just simply keep the conversation going and allow me to find out more and then come back in for that close. Okay.
It also makes you stand out when you're the only one asking those questions.
Yeah.
Because now you're actually setting the scene for the seller to think in the back of their mind, what is different about this agent? Because you are setting yourself apart from those that are calling and going in for the kill, so to speak.
Right. The kill. It sounds so.
The kill. But I really like that the accelerator script that you use for sell by owners, because it is very conversational and it does have a tendency to feel more natural in the way the verbiage just rolls. And so you don't feel like you're scripted.
Yeah. And it also stays on point, right? It gets right to the point. And so, and then, after the first no or two, after the very first no, guys, I will always say, hey, I completely appreciate that. And so but John, I got to ask, I'm curious, this looks like a great house. What made you decide to sell? Right? Because now I'm going to start diving into motivation. And then guys, so what are the questions we need answers to? I want you to think like you're a reporter. How, when, what, why? I feel like there's another one. But these are the fact-finding questions, right? So the one thing I will tell you is be careful of why, okay? Why are you selling on your own instead of using an agent? Really?
Ooh.
Why does it matter to you? Why sometimes sounds adversarial, right? So be careful when you ask a why question. Just manage that carefully. And
well,
then
and that also rolls into your tonality when you say why, when you're asking the why questions. It all comes down to tonality, because that can come across as very to where you're almost being combative.
Yeah. And so does anybody get stuck on objection handlers, right? They start throwing out all the questions about why they don't want to get together, or I get asked this one constantly. Do you have a buyer for my home? And now, guys, I happen to have a database with a ton of buyer leads in it. So I can very honestly say, we've got hundreds of buyers that haven't been able to find a home yet. I don't know if yours is going to be perfect for them or not, but here, this is something that anybody can use. So do you have a buyer for my home? That's one of the reasons for my call. The buyers I work with usually want to see everything that's available, not just the homes that are listed. So anytime I have a few minutes, I try to get to know the for sale by owners in the area. If I do have a buyer that might be a good match for your home, is it okay for me to bring them by? Okay. Super. Now, I will always roll that into the next question, which is, if we've got a buyer for your property, do you have a buyer's agent commission already built in? Because that tells me, if they say, yeah, that's already built in, guys, all we have to make up is 3%. They've already got the 3% BAC built into the asking price. All we have to make up is the other 3%. Like, come on. This is now doable, right? We'll pay you a commission if we bring you a buyer. Okay, great. This is the objection handler here. Again, this is, you're willing to pay a 3% commission. That's great. Sounds like you already know that exposure is the thing that will help you get top dollar for your home, right? So let's do this. I'm happy to preview your home and take a few minutes to share my plan for getting your home sold quickly and for top dollar. And if you prefer to continue selling on your own, that's okay too. Worst case scenario, I get the chance to become familiar with your home and you get the extra exposure. Sound good? Here, I would actually change this. I'd say, fair enough. And then what works better for you, afternoons or evenings? Guys, I love this particular close so much that I will set them up for this close by asking the question, will you pay a commission if we can bring you a buyer? Because if they say yes, I am going to instantly roll into this close. Does that make sense? And then we want to wait, right? Anybody heard this? We want to wait. We want to wait till spring. We want to wait till after the holidays. We want to wait till the market changes. We want to wait till whatever. And I'm like, okay, I get it. I completely understand. And I have to ask you a question. If selling your home now, as opposed to waiting, meant the difference of $5,000 to $10,000 to your bottom line, would it be worth selling sooner rather than later? I can't be certain until I've done the research, but that's exactly why we should meet. I don't have a lot of time, but I could make it out tomorrow at about 6 o'clock. Does that work for you? Right? And then we just want to sell on our own. I've got an agent in mind if I decide to list, and Martin, we'll send you all these over. Just exploring possibilities. Okay, this, guys, is one of my favorite ways to get in the door that we kind of touched on. Just exploring possibilities. When I come out, we will simply go over how much you need to net to make sure that you get the amount that you need, and to see if it even makes sense to work together. Worst case scenario, you will have exposed your home to one of the top selling real estate offices in the state. I've got my calendar open. How does tomorrow at 6 work for you? I usually do the alternative close, like, what's better for you, afternoons or evenings? Guys, just exploring the possibilities is such a powerful way to get in the door. And at the end of the day, this is what I want you guys to focus on. I just want you to get in the door, whatever it takes. So if you've tried and tried and tried and tried and tried and tried to set the listing appointment and you just can't get the listing appointment, I want you to fall back to, great, would you be willing to work with us if we've got a buyer? Yes, super, great. In that case, I just need to do a quick preview of your home so I can see if it matches up with any of our buyers. I mean, we're talking 10 minutes tops, unless, you've got questions for me while I'm there. I promise I will not even bring paperwork. Literally, I'll just swing by, quick walkthrough. And I call this a 2-step. In the 2-step, you get the walkthrough. And guys, every single person here should be able to schedule at least 1 to 2 walkthroughs a day. Walkthroughs are so easy to schedule, right? And then once you're there in person, I want you to just chat with them. Find out, say something nice about the house if it's at all humanly possible, okay? Find out, where are they going next? What's important about that move? How soon do they need to be there? What happens if the home doesn't sell? How's that going to affect their plans, right? They get a chance to see you, meet you in person, and then you can just say, folks, how did you come up with your sales price? Okay, how did you arrive at your sales price? So the market is so volatile right now. Why don't we do this? I'm happy to do it. There's no strings attached. Let me put together a really comprehensive market analysis for you, and I can just swing back by and drop it off. House tomorrow at 6. So the 2-step is where you do the walkthrough first, and in the walkthrough, you set the listing appointment. Does that make sense to everybody? And then I can't see my chat. Oh, here it is. I'm forever losing my chat. There it is. I got it.
It's always hiding on that second screen of yours.
Drop a 1 in the chat, guys, if you think that, if all of that is kind of making sense and you're getting value out of that, guys.
And then here, I'll jump back to our main screen. So guys, do you feel like that's a conversation that you could have with folks? Right? It's not bad. And for my 2 people on here that were like 10 plus FSBOs expireds, okay, you guys are rocking. Let me know for those, because I think we had 2 that were more experienced. For you guys, I have a different script that will significantly up your listing to appointment ratio if you're not using it already. It's my secret weapon. It was the script I was the most terrified of using for the first part of my career, and it became my flat out favorite script. Like, I do not show until we've gone through this script. And so I'm going to take the last few minutes and we'll chat about that. So are you guys feeling like, hey, these are conversations I can have? This is not bad, right? It really isn't. And here's what I will tell you. Our idea of what a for sale by owner call is like versus the reality is vastly different, guys. I have called, I don't even know. Oh my gosh. I mean, I did anywhere from 30 to 40, most of my career, actually, I was 20 to 30 for sale by owner expired contacts a day, Monday through Friday. I mean, do the math over that, plus all the agents that I helped. I've made thousands and thousands of for sale by owner calls. I've had a handful where people were even like that rude, you know what I mean? So these calls, the reality of these calls are just not that bad. So I've got one last script, and this script, guys, is my secret weapon. Let me, haha, here it is. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen one more time. Okay. So guys, there's something really interesting that happens on for sale by owners or expired phone calls. Oh, hey. Okay, can you guys see that script?
Yes.
Okay. Guys, this is my listing pre-qualification script. Now, here's how you do this. The instant you set the listing appointment, right? You instantly switch into this script, okay? I don't want you to wait to call them back to do the script because there's a high probability that you'll never get them on the phone again. Okay, so you have to do the script right then and there while you have them on the phone. So here's how this works. You've got a for sale by owner or an expired. You've just set the appointment with them. You're going to go directly into this script. Here's what's so weird, guys. Once you set the appointment, it's kind of like all of their defenses have dropped. They're just like, okay, it's fine. It's weird, right? So this script, I use this too. Like I have these actually printed out on my desk and I'll fill out the top, and down here I have a section for taking some notes. So here's what I'm going to say. I'm saying, okay, John, so before we get together, there's just a couple more questions that I need to ask you. Is that okay? Okay, great. So now if I've already gotten these questions during the duration of the script, I'm just going to confirm that I've got the answers right. Okay. Now, if for some reason, I just lost my mind and I forgot to ask this question, this is my chance to get the answer to this question, right? So let's just pretend John told me he's moving to San Francisco. Okay, now, John, just confirming you're moving to San Francisco, right? Okay, great. And you said you had to be there in the next 90 days. That correct? Yes, super. So let me ask you, this group 4610 is some partners of mine. So that's why their name is in this script. So let me ask you, we typically sell our listings within 30 days. So if your property is under contract and sold in the next 30 days, would that pose a problem for you? No? Great. But sometimes it does, guys. But maybe they're waiting on a new construction build and they need more time, right? I want the answer to this question if I don't have it already. And so, John, let me ask you, what would happen if your property did not sell, right? So I want the answer to that question. And then when we come out and meet with you, how much do you want to list your home for realistically? So now I'm going to wait for that answer. And guys, I'm going to downswing hard on the word realistically. And anytime you see 3 dots, that means you pause longer than you would for a period. So, John, I price houses every single day. When we get together, how much would you like to list your home for realistically? And then they'll tell me whatever the price is. Let's just say it's $750,000. $750,000, great. And what's the price that you can't go below? Bam. Okay, so now I have a spread, don't I, of pricing right there. And then how much approximately do you owe on the property? I'm going to ask this very matter-of-factly. And how much do you owe on the property? And how soon can we start bringing buyers through the home? This is an actually interesting question because here you'll actually get answers like, well, we actually may need 3 weeks to do a little extra work or whatever, right? And then will you quickly describe your home for me if they haven't done this already? right? How would you rank your property on a scale of 1 to 10? Super, what would make it a 10? And is there anything positive or negative about your home that could affect the sales price, right? Do you plan to interview more than one agent for the job of selling your home? And then who might they be? And when are those other interviews set up? So I'm going to ask some questions in here, guys. Does anybody have a problem with that question? Because you're like, I don't want to give them an idea that they should be interviewing more agents. Guys, they already have the idea, okay? If they're interviewing more than one agent, I want to know that before I go out on the appointment so that I'm prepared for that conversation. And John, I've only talked with you. Are there any other decision makers? Right now, I'm actually, while I'm on the phone, odds are on a second screen, I'm pulling up tax records for this property in real time because I need to know who's on title. Okay. And I need to make sure that everybody on title is at this appointment. But I'm just going to go ahead and ask, are there any other decision makers? Great. Will they be there? Super. And if the answer is no, we're going to reschedule for when all decision makers can be there. Because can we take a listing if only the husband is there and the wife isn't there and she's on title? No, we can't because we need her signature, right? Let me ask you this. When they say we, I'd say we, I, whatever. If you've got a team, say we. Let me ask you this. When we come out to meet with you tomorrow at 6, if what we say makes sense and you feel confident and comfortable with our program and you like us, are you prepared to list your home with us when we get together at 6? Guys, this is such a critical question, okay? You cannot not ask this question because here's what happens. About 3 times out of 10, they're like, what? List the home? I thought you were just coming out to do a walkthrough. Okay. Clearly, I was not specific enough about why I'm coming out. So we're going to get some clarity there. 2, I need to know what their answer is. If their answer is, yeah, we'd consider it if it makes sense, super. If they say, maybe, it just depends on what you have to say, super. If they say, no, we wouldn't. I'm going to pause, right? If I get a hard no as an answer to that question, I'm going to back up right here and I'm going to say, hey, I appreciate it. And thanks for the candor, John. So help me understand, what are you hoping to get out of this appointment tomorrow? Because if it's a hard no, there's no way I'm listing my home. I'm going to find out why, right? And we're going to dig a little deeper because I ain't going if he's like, no, I'm not going to list my home for whatever reason. Okay, I don't need to waste my time. I can set plenty of appointments. I don't need to go on appointments that suck. Okay, I at least want them to say, yes, I would consider listing with you if it makes sense. Guys, this is the beauty of getting good at this, is you can cherry pick the appointments that you go on and only go on the very best appointments and feel free to cancel the other ones, right? That's actually what happens when you get really good at being able to set appointments. The other thing that you can do is you can farm appointments out. Okay, and then on, as we come down, what specifically do you need to see, if anything, to help you make the decision to list your home with us when we meet? Now, guys, do you notice how there are words in here that are capitalized? List your house, list your house. These are called embedded commands. Okay, it's NLP, neuro linguistic programming. And so we're programming their subconscious over and over by saying, list your house with us, list your house with us as part of the sentences, right? So you're going to put a little subtle emphasis on those. So if we say, are you prepared to list your house with us, right? Just a little, not too obvious, but it's just setting them up. And then, do you have any other questions for me before we arrive? Number one thing I get is, no, we're good. We don't have any more questions. Okay, super. Or yes, what do you charge? What do you charge for commission? I will always answer the same thing. I'll say, John, here is the great news. In the state of Utah, commissions are 100% negotiable. And that'll be one of the first things that we discuss when I come out tomorrow. And then I'm just going to roll to the next question, right? And then this one, guys, I phrase this a little differently. I actually might even do a modified version of this prequal script, Martin, because I've got one that I've used for years that's slightly different from this.
Hey, Bella, I'm gonna.
I don't say.
Sorry to
I
jump
don't say.
in. Sorry to jump in. And I don't mean to interrupt you, but I just, because we're at that hour mark, I noticed that a couple of people are dropping off. So what I want to say to everyone is guys, stick around. We will continue for the end of the script in just a moment. But just before we do, I wanted to say, make sure you come back next week, because I've got a couple of special offers for you guys. So Jake and I discussed it as well. If anyone in the chat right now, existing Real Connect customers, which I'm going to talk about in a second, if anyone wants to turn on call recording in their Real Connect platform and actually do and practice some of these scripts, we'll pick one person that has, one that they might want to review, and we'll listen to that recording next week. And maybe if you guys could provide feedback on that. So if anyone's interested in doing that, we can do that. So we can do that next week. So I'll quickly share with you, in Real Connect, guys, if in the software, this is a demo one that I've set up. You can just come down here if you don't already come down here to where it says start prospecting, and you can literally just choose which campaign that you guys want to do and start calling your FSBOs and your expired. So if you select the campaign up here, let's say I want to call all the latest expireds and FSBOs here. You can call all these people. I think I've got some famous people here in my FSBOs. So you can call Brad Pitt and Tom Hanks, and you hit start and it will call them, and we can turn on call recording so that you guys can listen to the call. We can play it in next week's training and give you guys some feedback. On top of that as well, guys, next week in the training, we are going to do, pre-listing packages, guys? Is that what we talked about? For pre-listing kits next week. So we're going to cover a little bit of that. So that should be really, really great. So please make sure you don't miss that training. You will automatically be registered for next week's training as well. So don't worry, we're going to send you reminders for that too. And last of all, guys, if for anyone who's here that is not already a Real Connect customer, I'm going to put a link in the chat right now where you can come along to this page here basically and grab a 7-day free trial on Real Connect, where we'll provide you with the latest expired FSBO leads every single day directly into our platform. And you can use our platform really nice and simply to prospect out, text, and call all of these types of sellers, just like Belladonna and Tamara are talking about right now. And Belladonna and Tamara, if you guys want to quickly talk about your offer with the AI agent course.
You want to tell them about that, Tamara?
Absolutely. We're actually helping real estate agents implement AI in their real estate business. And we have some amazing tools that we are helping you real estate agents use to save at least 10 hours a week of time and release some of those administrative duties that suck our time. And we actually have a course, and we have our next course, I believe, isn't it the 2nd of November, Belladonna? Isn't that when it starts next? And then we also have a webinar if you want to jump on, and that will be on next Friday. That we'll have that. It's at 11 a.m. If you drop any comments in the box that you want, the webinar link, will get that out to you as well. But it's not something that you've ever seen out there when it comes to AI. and we have a lot of fun teaching it. And poor Bella. I just want you to get better. It's no fun when my business partner can't laugh and then ends up in a coughing fit. So
I think she did phenomenally though, considering how sick she
she
looks.
did great.
You know,
But you know,
Belladonna's
that's
energy
one
is.
thing about Bella. She's a trooper.
Yeah, and her
Like-
Belladonna's energy is normally like up here, and I think today you
Yes.
were only down here. You know what I mean? So it was still quite high.
I was going to
But she
say,
gets
sorry
in a
guys, I
groove.
was like, I was so off my game today. I feel bad actually. And because like, seriously, you guys, I'm not trying to make excuses, but I have got a freaking migraine, a cough. I feel like I've been
Oh,
hit by a
no.
truck. And
But
like,
she
I would just
showed
lose
up.
my train of thought. I would just like halfway through, I'm like, oh hell, what was I doing?
Well, do you know what, right? Like that just brings it to mind. Like when you guys are out there trying to sell to and cold call FSBOs and expireds, and you wake up in that day and you go, oh, I don't feel like it today. You got to push through it. You got to do it anyway, right? Like that's a really good
Yep.
example.
That's
You
the way
know,
it works.
awesome. Cool, guys. So yeah, I think that's kind of it for everything that I wanted to announce at the end. But if anyone, if you're happy to, Belladonna, I'm happy to keep the Zoom going for a little bit longer. Does anyone, and there's still quite a few people here, so if we want to finish off that script, I just wanted to make sure, just in case people wanted to leave, you're very welcome to finish off that script now if you want to.
Oh, sure. And then I dropped, so guys, we have a live webinar where we actually do a lot of teaching and training on how to leverage AI in your real estate business to help you, specifically to help you take more listings. So I just dropped, it's a free webinar, right? Fun, goes about an hour and a half, it's about 90 minutes. And I dropped that link in the chat for everybody. And so let me see, am I still sharing my screen? I don't think I am I?
No, you're not.
Also, everyone,
And
just
so,
drop a 1 in the chat if you want us to turn on call recording in your Real Connect account, if you're interested in having us review your calls for next week. So just go ahead and drop a 1 in the chat if you want us to do that. And you don't have to submit it. We're not going to automatically review your call unless you go, hey, Martin, I had a good call with this person. Can we review that call, right? The 1 in the chat is just for us to turn it on so you guys can have access to it.
and then the last thing on this script, guys, is I'm not going to say if we drop off. I am going to say I'm sending you a pre-listing package via email. And next week, maybe we can dive into that, because a solid pre-listing package will exponentially increase your closing ratio. And we can talk about what's in our pre-listing package. So I will tell them, I'm going to be sending you over a pre-listing package. It's going to be covering all of our marketing, our advertising, our track record. Our marketing plan is in there, even you can go through our presentation. There's a link in there as well. Can you review that before I come out? Now, I'm going to tell them something like this. I go for humor when I can, right? Unless I see that the person I'm on the phone with is a very serious person, because they won't appreciate humor as much. But most of the time I can get away with it. And I'll say, folks, if you take a look at this pre-listing package, our meeting will really only be 20 to 30 minutes. If you don't, I'm going to be there for a couple of hours. We can order a pizza. It's up to you. But if your time is valuable, please take 5 minutes and go review this pre-listing package. And then I will email that out to them. And I'm not going to send it to their workplace. This was back in the day when our pre-listing packages were physical, because I used to send physical pre-listing packages before we switched them all to digital. So that's it. That's it. Now, what does this pre-qual script do for me? One, I know every single objection I'm going to have on the listing appointment before I show up, so I can be really well prepared to handle those specific objections. I've made sure that I have a full understanding of their scenario, right? Their situation. I know what they owe on the property. so that I can run a net sheet and see, okay, like ballpark, what are they going to walk away with? And something really interesting happens when we just flow through a prequal script. And that is, they start to perceive us very much as the professional, right? So this is very similar to a doctor when you sit down and the doctor is now saying, okay, they're asking you a list of questions so that they can start to diagnose your problem. And this has the same effect on your seller. Also, it makes sure that you don't run into any problems at the presentation, like not having all decision makers present. And between going through the prequal script and then sending the pre-listing package, your closing ratio will probably increase by 20%, which is a pretty big margin, right? So I think we're good for today, and I will do an updated version of this prequal script, because the other thing that I do, guys, is I ask that big question right at the front. So, I'll say, hey, I've just got a few more questions. Is that okay? Great. So, John, if you feel, once we get together, if you feel comfortable and confident that we can sell your home, and, it seems like a good working relationship, are you planning to list your home with me when I see you Thursday at 6? Right out of the gate, bam, I'm just putting it out there, right? And you'd be amazed how many people go, we would consider it. Okay, golden, right? And then you can flow through the rest of the questions. So Martin, how about if I get those over to you? And then if they want the scripts, you can just shoot it out to the attendees.
Yeah, that'd be good, because what I was planning on doing is, I know obviously you've been sick and that's why you haven't come back to me. That's okay. But what I was planning on doing is, don't worry about formatting them or anything like that. Just send them over raw, completely raw, because what I was going to do is put them into like a nice ebook and put it with some graphics and stuff like that, and we can both share it. We can put you guys on it, and I don't know if you're okay with us putting us on it as well, and we could do it that way. So don't worry too much about formatting it or making it look nice or whatever, because I'll just sort it all out.
Okay, nice. Yep. And guys, this is actually the pre-listing script I use for my whole career, right? So you can see here, if what I say makes sense, you feel comfortable and confident that I can sell your home. Are you planning to list your home with me when I come out? Like, just no, not pulling any punches, right? Then awesome. Are you planning to interview more than one agent for the job selling your home? Tell me again, where you're moving to. If we know, then I would just confirming you're moving to San Francisco. You said you had to be there in 3 months. Is that right? And then when I see you, how much do you want to list your home for realistically? And then I love this one. As a real estate agent, I study homes and prices every day. Therefore, I assume you'll list with me at a price that will cause your home to sell, correct? 100% of the time, can I tell you what they say to this question? Well, I don't want to give it away. That always, I can predict their answer. Okay. To which I say, don't worry. I have never given away a home in 20 years of selling real estate. So you're good. So what price won't you go below? And then how much do you own the property? Excellent. Have you ever thought about selling it yourself? If it's a FSBO, you're not going to say that, but you will if it's an expired. Okay. You're going to ask, have you ever thought about selling it on your own? Because if they're thinking about going FSBO, you want to know that before your appointment. And then I love this one too. Will you help finance your home for the buyer, or do you want your cash out? Okay, cash out. That's great. Guys, this is a training for another day, but there has never been a better time in the history of the United States for seller finance deals. So you want to really help people sell their home you want to sell their home for 10 to 15% above market value, right? In a way that they have a big down payment still covered so they can go buy their next home, and they're going to make a yield spread on their interest rate. I forgot the number, Tamara. What is it? There's like 10 million homeowners in the US that have an interest rate of 3% or below. So
It's a huge amount.
so for people that this makes sense for, this is a great question to ask, right? And just have a conversation with folks. And then would you please describe your home for me? I'll be sending over instead of a package of information, right? I'm going to be emailing you some information. Will you take a few minutes to review it? Great. Any questions before I arrive? And then bam. So very simple and straightforward. The script is worth its weight in gold. So
Awesome. Cool. Thank you so much, guys. We really appreciate it. Yeah, if you send those over to me, I'll get them all kind of mocked up and on a nice ebook. I'll run them by you first before we put out, I don't want to put out, your guys' material without checking it with you first. So I'll run it by you first and then we'll go from there. But yeah, I mean, everybody who's still here, we still got 9 people in here. So when you guys come along next week, I'm really excited for. We're going to talk more about, I guess, the pre-listing package, and then about the actual listing presentation itself, and then you guys are automatically registered. So, and hey, as well, anyone who's still here, bring along your friends, your network, anyone else who might be interested in these trainings. You're very welcome to bring them along. There is a link in the Facebook community where you can have them register for this call as well. So we would absolutely love it if you brought along your colleagues or any friends you've got too. So with that being said, guys, I think that's pretty much us. Thank you guys so much. Let's talk again soon. Go get some rest, Belladonna, and we'll talk again over the next couple of days, and maybe make a plan for next week as well.
hey, sounds great.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you, Tamara, as well.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, guys. Have a great evening.
See you guys.
All right. Bye.